26th City Council meeting. As a reminder, if you're joining this meeting via Zoom, you can still make public comment. During any public comment portions, attendees may use the raise your hand feature and will be called upon and unmuted when it is their turn to speak. If you're joining by phone, use #9, no, not #9, *9 to raise your hand and *6 to mute and unmute. We also have Spanish interpretation services available in person and via Zoom. On Point Language Solutions is in the back left corner if anyone needs assistance with interpretation services. And they will now come and provide information on how they are used.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor, honorable council members, Mr. Chittister, Ms. Lozano, Ms. Rodriguez, all city staff and members of the public, Victor Hernandez, Spanish interpreter. Buenas tardes. Les queremos dejar saber a todos los miembros del público que se les proporcionará interpretación en vivo de toda esta reunión en español y para acceder al servicio de interpretación en vivo por Zoom, ya sea con una computadora o una portátil, haga clic en lo que es un icono de un globo terráqueo, es decir, un mundo, y seleccione el idioma en español. Ahora, si usted está usando un teléfono inteligente o una tableta, busque lo que es el menú de 3 puntos, seleccione interpretación y luego seleccione el idioma en español. Y por último, haga clic en lo que es done o listo. Ahora, si está usted en un teléfono inteligente o una tableta y quiere alzar la mano, por favor, presione la estrella 9 y para desilenciar su micrófono, oprima la estrella 6. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victor. And now I'd like to ask the clerk to take roll call, please.
Councilmember Brownstone.
Here.
Councilmember Nagengast.
Here.
Councilmember Johnson.
Here.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Here.
We have a quorum.
I would also like to ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now we have 2 proclamations and
Pledge of Allegiance.
I was going to skip it.
That's your prerogative.
That's right.
All right, 2 proclamations.
2 proclamations, and our city manager, Matthew Chittister, will be presenting those.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Very exciting to present these proclamations tonight. Our first proclamation is to recognize a really, I think, important program here in the state of California. It's called Friday Night Live. And I'm just going to read a few key portions of the proclamation so people understand what this is about. So whereas the Friday Night Live program, which was established in 1984 as the model program for the state of California in engaging young people as active leaders in their communities to reduce underage alcohol use and address other challenges faced by their peers by building partnerships for positive youth development, and the Friday Night Live program engages youth partners from grade 4 through high school and beyond, ensuring that they benefit from the continued growth and enhancement of this youth-led, youth-driven program and the unique opportunities it provides. And those opportunities include special events, leadership development, and other programs. Friday Night Live programs prepare the leaders of tomorrow through real-world skill building, experiences, and community partnerships, ensuring the workforce of the future is equipped with the necessary skills and compassion to foster healthy and thriving communities across California. And during the month of April 2026, Friday Night Live youth leaders in 55 counties throughout the state of California will highlight their efforts to prevent underage drinking, gambling, and tobacco, cannabis, and other drug use by mobilizing their communities with a unified call to action. Now, therefore, be it known that the City Council of the City of Half Moon Bay does hereby recognize that the month of April 2026 be recognized as California Friday Night Live Month and applauds Friday Night Live youth leaders and their adult allies who are committed to improving the quality of life for present and future generations. And here in Half Moon Bay, Friday Night Live is led by the Youth Leadership Institute, which is an incredible nonprofit that is really youth-driven and youth-guided. They've been a great partner for the city over the years, providing engagement, feedback, and support, and we're really proud to be able to honor them tonight. And I think they've got a few words they want to share, so please.
Awesome. Thank you. Good evening, council members, council staff, and community members. My name is Alalie Cuenca Kang, Bay Area Director of Programs at Youth Leadership Institute. It is my privilege to speak to you today on behalf of Half Moon Bay leaders about the city's proclamation of April as Friday Night Live Month. As the city manager mentioned, each year Friday Night Live Month serves as a statewide opportunity to elevate youth voices, highlight the impact of alcohol, tobacco, and other drug prevention, and celebrate the powerful work of young people across communities and in California. More than a celebration, it is a coordinated effort to raise the profile of Friday Night Live, spotlight youth leadership, share accomplishments, and strengthen the partnerships that make our schools and communities safer. This year, youth leaders are tackling vaping. They have researched and identified the harms and risks of vaping and their impact it has on their bodies, their mental health, and the environment. Part of their public health advocacy has included developing youth-centered public service announcements, classroom presentations at the Half Moon Bay High School, as well as developing a first-of-its-kind Healthy Alternatives Pledge that encourages youth to engage in activities that bring them joy to support their overall well-being, such as singing, dancing, playing cards, sports, creating art, and so much more. Our youth leaders thank you for your ongoing support and look forward to working with any member of the City Council as well as any city department to further our advocacy efforts. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone in the public have anything that they'd like to comment on or say? No? Okay.
All right, thank you, Madam Mayor. Our second proclamation doesn't need as much context, but I will share some of the words here. Our second proclamation is a recognition of the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce. And I'll just share a little bit from the proclamation. The Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce is a local nonprofit that has been serving the businesses of the San Mateo County coast for more than 6 decades. And it was formally organized in 1963 to support the local agricultural industry, and then it grew to serve all types of businesses on the coast with a mission to advocate, inform, and support the coastside business community through leadership and the power of collaboration and inclusion. The Chamber has played an important role in a variety of areas, including the transition of the local economy from its historic industries to a more diverse economy supported by tourism and small businesses while preserving the historic legacy of the coast, improved infrastructure and transportation for residents and visitors, and ensuring all businesses on the coast have professional and informed advocacy. And of note is that the Chamber became one of only 23 California Welcome Centers sponsored by Visit California in 2025, and that is the state's official tourism marketing entity. This designation makes the Chamber a frontline tourism hub and brings new statewide visibility, enhanced marketing, and support from the state to ensure visitors around the world know about our incredible community and all it has to offer. And all this is happening in a beautiful new facility that they celebrated this week in a really nice ribbon cutting. Lots of folks were in attendance. It was a really nice evening last Thursday. And so the City Council of the City of Half Moon Bay hereby congratulates and recognizes the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce for its new home in the heart of downtown Half Moon Bay and for its designation as an official California Welcome Center. The city appreciates the work of the Chamber and its partnership in promoting and advocating for the businesses of the coastside and as the coastside as a premier international destination.
Thank you, Matthew. Anyone in the public have any comment?
You want to say?
If not, we will welcome the chamber president.
Thank you so much, Krista Lynn, the CEO of the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber. Thank you to everybody who was able to come out to our ribbon cutting on Thursday. It was a fabulous event attended by the loveliest of people. And thank you so much for helping steward us into the new location. We're really excited to be right across from City Hall. Just today, we had 55 visitors come in, which I think normally probably would have clogged City Hall. So it works really, really well with everything that we're doing, and we're really excited to be there. So thank you so much for recognizing that. We really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Now we move on. Mayor's announcements, I have none. Report out from recent closed session meetings from our attorney Denise Bazzano.
Thank you, Madam Vice Mayor. This evening, the council met in closed session to discuss 3 items on the agenda. There is no reportable action for any of the items. I do want to note that Councilmember Nagengas did recuse himself for item 4C. And that's the end of the report.
Thank you. And Matthew Chittister, our city manager, with updates to council.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We have 3 items that were listed on the agenda and 2 additional informational items that we'll share as well. We're trying something a little bit different tonight. Yours is at the end, sorry. We have an item on our agendas called commission report outs, and that's to update the community on the happenings at our commission meetings each month, whether it's the Planning Commission, the Recreation Commission, we have the Bike Ped Advisory Committee. And often by the time we reach that point of the evening, people are tired, we don't really have an audience anymore. And so we're going to try something different and bring these to the beginning of the meetings. And tonight we're going to do it as part of the city manager's update. We'll keep them brief, but it's an opportunity for the community to hear what's going on in those meetings and what they can expect at future meetings. So we will start with an update on the Parks and Recreation Commission, which met most recently on March 25th. And just a couple of highlights from that meeting. There was a discussion on the letter of support for the high school pool project, which is shifting to a collaboration between the council and the commission on a letter of support. There was an update on the volleyball courts that we put at Poplar Beach as part of our summer programming, and some of the location has been up for discussion, and that should be coming back with an update soon. Lots of planning for the FIFA World Cup coming this summer, and the city has some plans and our businesses have some plans, so there was some discussion about that. And then, of course, the commission discussed some of its priorities for 2026. The next meeting is on Wednesday, April 22nd at 6 p.m. These meetings are held on the 4th Wednesday of each month at 6 p.m. at the library, but they're also available on Zoom. And at this upcoming meeting, 2 of the items that we know we'll be discussing are the fee structure for Carter Park, which will be coming before the council in the future as well, and then continued discussion of the priorities. Next, we'll have Leslie Lako, our Community Development Director, just share an update on a couple of meetings of the Planning Commission.
Hello. So the Planning Commission got a couple meetings to brief you on. On March 10th, we brought forward the annual progress report, which this council has since approved and has since been submitted to the State Housing Community Development Agency and the State what do they call themselves now? What used to be the Office of Policy and Research and is now the Office of Land Use and Climate Innovations. So that has been done and those have been accepted. We also looked at the Measure D allocations. The Planning Commission allocated 6 Measure Ds in addition to the 17 that the council approved in the phasing agreement. They also made a recommendation that while staff is looking at code amendments to increase transparency and efficiency in the Measure D process, that we look at shortening the time between when the allocations are awarded in March and when the transfers happen in September to around 30 to 60 days. And on March 24th, we brought forward a self-storage facility at 215 San Mateo Road. That's where Curly and Reds is now. So this facility would be for 68 units that are in the back of the lot, some fencing, retaining walls, paving, a bioswale. It's a retention pond. And then some landscaping along the frontage there to improve the way that facility looks from the highway. And in our next meeting, we're bringing forward a Verizon Tower extension. So there's a Verizon Tower at the end at 200 Lewis Foster Drive, so up on the top of the hill, right near the water storage facility. And those water storage facilities are being increased in size, so the tower is being extended up higher. So that's going before the Planning Commission. And then the Coastside Land Trust is going to provide an educational presentation on a restoration of coastal prairie habitat project that they're embarking on. So that's it.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about this self-storage facility? Is that a private business, and are they paying for all the landscaping and the swales and the paving and stuff?
Yes, they are. So that property is owned by the Cardoni family, and
I can't quite hear you, Leslie. Could you speak a little?
oh yeah, am I not right in the mic? Okay. That property is owned by the Cardoni family, and they have proposed the storage facility. They're paying for all of the landscaping improvements and all of the improvements there, and also working to keep their existing tenant, Curly and Reds, functioning in the meantime.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, Leslie. Next, we'll have Todd Seeley, our interim Director of Public Works, talk about the Bike Ped Advisory Committee.
Let me make sure we're loud enough. All right. Madam Vice Mayor, Council, thank you for having me this evening. I'm here to talk about the last Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee meeting, or BPAC as we like to call it. It was on March 5th. So we had several items go that night. We had an update from staff on the e-bike and e-moto safety forum that I know several of you attended and a lot of city staff attended as well. Very topical and timely. We also discussed and finalized the draft amendment to the Muni Code, Section 103140. We're going to be bringing this to council soon. It had been reviewed by the previous city attorney, and we're trying to schedule some time just to take another stab at it legally before we bring it back to you guys. But we expect to have that update to the Muni Code brought back in the coming months. And also, we recommended some trail signage for staff to take to you for approval, primarily some speed limits for the trail. I know with the e-bike and e-moto stuff, that's something that's at top of mind, and it's some informational signage for the trail. There's only going to be a couple of them, but we will take it back before we install those signs. And the most important thing for us was the meeting was attended by a potential youth member at the time, Angela Garnier, and she actually got appointed by the council at the last council meeting. So this report out's a little late, but thank you for appointing her to our committee, and she's really excited to be part of it and serve with us. And we also had a detailed presentation regarding some grant opportunities, primarily the CCAG TDA Article 3 grants, which I'll touch on in a slide in a little bit. The next meeting is scheduled for May 7th at 6 p.m. It's going to be primarily focused on the South Corridor study. It's going to be running in conjunction with a tool design group who's going to be running a bunch of focus groups May 6th, 7th, and 8th. So that's a lot, and we'll be bringing that back at the next council meeting as well, just with more information about locations. We're trying to finalize locations, finalize times, all that stuff with the design consultant. Potential locations for those would be at either the EOC or Fire Station 40 or possibly the library. We're just not sure yet, or even a combination of the three, but we'll have more information definitely at the next council meeting for that. And so since we discussed the grants, we're here to talk about we think is an exciting grant opportunity. It's primarily for repairing of the coastal trails. It is that CCAG TDA Article 3 grant I mentioned previously. There's two separate paths in the grant, and we're actually going to be applying for both paths. One is a $750,000 capital grant amount for construction and $200,000 grant amount for planning documents. Applications are due on April 16th, and the engineering team is finalizing those as we speak. For the construction side of it, really what we want to do is do an overlay of the coastal trail, kind of following that blue line. It's hard to see, but it's a long stretch. It's from the Seymour Bridge to Murata Beach, basically. So more than a mile of trail. The tentative plan would be to do some sort of glass grid overlay, which isn't going to make everything better, but at that price point, it's definitely going to be an improvement. Conservatively, without accounting for the cost of gasoline right now, the cost of oil right now, to do a full depth reclamation of that stretch would probably be in the $10 million range, probably more, just based on materials and everything and mobilization. So we're excited about the opportunity to at least get a little bit more life out of the existing coastal trail. And as you guys can see, part of it is in State Parks property. The engineering team has reached out and secured at least a verbal agreement at this point to get some matching funds. It is a 10% match. So the city, or whatever the project boundaries would end up being, would be, $75,000 contribution. State Parks has offered $35,000. So, nearly half of our 10% match, which is substantial. And especially their trails are in worse shape anyways, but we're not looking at it that way. We're looking at it as a partnership. We want to be able to get together with our other stakeholders in this community and get stuff done. And the second part of the grant is the $200,000 for planning, and that would be used for updating the bike ped master plan. It's due for an update, and this $200,000 would certainly help us get a consultant on board to be able to get that document going and adopted as soon as possible. And with that, any questions about these grants?
I think it's important to point out on the construction side of things, it's a maintenance job. And so we're not looking at changing the trail or expanding it. We do think that the project will restore it to its original width, which is probably much wider than people are experiencing right now. And so the thought is basically from the Murata Bridge south, the coastal trail is going to feel like a new trail. It's a really exciting project, and I'm really proud of the Public Works team for the creativity and the vision to not just think about what's the city's responsibility, but hey, there's funding that can really improve this stretch of trail, which is heavily used by all people on the coast side. And really add some life to it. And so I'm really excited about this concept. I was blown away when they presented it to me.
It is very exciting. I do have one question, though. What does the word overlay mean?
So paving, there's several options with paving. One would be the typical thing where the milling machine comes in, takes the old stuff out, and then you put new material down. What we're proposing would be a synthetic glass grid type material that goes down, and a thinner layer of asphalt goes over that, right? Overlaying it, kind of raising it up at about 1.5 inches is what we're looking at. So it would be basically raising the trail up about 1.5 inches.
with a synthetic?
Well, it's like a glass grid. So you put the grid down and that kind of what adheres the two surfaces together.
Yeah, so you just put a fabric on the old stuff and you put new asphalt on top of the fabric.
It saves us a lot of money from having to remove the old material.
I get it. I just, for a minute there, thought you were putting plastic into the coastal trail, and that freaked me out. But no, I'm wrong. Thank you. Good. I didn't think you'd do that, Todd.
No, not at all.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Todd. We have one more update. Julissa Acosta from the City Manager's Office just has a quick reminder for our local students and their parents.
Good evening, Madam Vice Mayor, Council. Just here to remind folks that the Student Award application period is open now. This is for our high school students and 8th graders to receive funding for they're demonstrating leadership initiatives and achievements. And for the Sustainability Award, we have 2 grants for high school students. All they have to do is write a prompt around food sustainability in Half Moon Bay. Applications are due by April 30th, and we'll have subcommittee review. So I encourage folks to apply. Thank you.
They're always fun. I love those awards. And is that it for
that is it
city
for our
manager
presentations? Yes.
Okay. Is there any public comment on any of the city manager reports? Okay. Seeing none, I will open us up for public forum. Our first speaker is Joaquin Jimenez, followed by Mariana Stark. If anyone else wants to speak, they can get a speaker card right over there at the table by the door from Leslie.
Good evening, Honorable Vice Mayor, council members, city staff, members of the public. My name is Joaquin Jimenez, Joaquin Murrieta in social media, and I'm running for County Supervisor, District 3, San Mateo County. You heard me talk about the coast side of San Mateo County being the largest farming ranching community in the Bay Area. You also heard me talk about food production and how important that is for our community. We have over 2,000 acres in the coast side that haven't been farmed for years. That will be a big benefit to the county. Right now, the farming industry is bringing about $115 million each year. We, as a coast side, San Mateo County, we should be bringing $500 million easily. And we're not doing that. We are missing that opportunity. One of the things that I'm proposing is to reopen or to open a slaughterhouse in the coast. We have a lot of ranching communities here in the coast, a lot of ranchers that have been ranching in the coast for generations. They will benefit from a slaughterhouse. Also, a dairy farm. I don't know if you know, but I've been doing a lot of research, speaking with our local ranchers and old farmers. The coast, we've had about 6 dairy farms throughout the years. And I met with several members of our community on the coast side and some in the county, about the idea of having a local dairy farm. There's a lot of interest. It'd be a great benefit, to our students, FFA, and a lot of other groups in our community that are interested, in ranching. They just haven't had the opportunity. We have a large group in our community that are interested, in farming. They haven't had the opportunity. I am the founder of an organization called Rancho San Benito. We have a lease of our property, about 76 acres here in Half Moon Bay. We're making a lot of changes. There have been some struggles, but we are getting ready to start our program to work with our community to educate and to train new farmers, including our high school graduates. So let's think about and protect the open spaces for ranching and for farming in our community. Think about fresh meat, fresh milk, a dairy farm, slaughterhouse. Something to think about. Thank you.
Thank you, Joaquin. Mariana Stark.
Thank you. Thank you. Hold on. I gotta get used to this for a second. Okay, I think that's it. Good. Hello, my name is Mariana. Has the touch? Okay, great. Thank you. Hello, my name is Mariana Stark. I am the principal of M. Stark Gallery at 727 Main Street, which celebrated 3 years in January. I have been a dues-paying member of the Chamber of Commerce since 2021. My gallery is a small business and also a free visitor-serving attraction featuring only Peninsula artists in solo exhibitions. My average foot traffic is about 50 visitors total per weekend. Other visitor-serving businesses on my block are Coast Pride, By the T-Shore Tea House, Kelly Mumford Gallery, Seascape Succulent Nursery, and soon to come Half Moon Bay Brewing Company. Thank you for making kiosk signage in Mac Dutra Plaza a city priority for 2026. As you know, a kiosk is a sign with a map and a list of stores by category, such as apparel, gifts, home, etc. This will allow visitors to know what Half Moon Bay has to offer above and beyond the stores in close proximity to the town square. Please continue to prioritize signage measures like gateway signage and posts with signs at the corners of each block, like in Sonoma and Carmel. The reason I am here tonight is because last week, downtown merchants received a notification from the Downtown Association that monthly merchant meetings will no longer take place. The Downtown Association is a 501c3 whose board primarily represents a handful of businesses in the 400 and 500 blocks. Downtown Association is not a membership or trade group, so all businesses were invited to the monthly meeting as a courtesy. That monthly meeting was important because city staff and elected officials attended, so it gave a voice to merchants who are not located in the Heritage District. Despite its broad name, the Downtown Association does not represent all downtown merchants. Its mission statement says it exists to bring awareness to the historic Main Street area of Half Moon Bay. This is confusing because they own the branding for all downtown, such as at Downtown Half Moon Bay on social media, but they do not represent all downtown businesses. Now that the meetings have been discontinued, there is no forum for non-Heritage District merchants to meet with city staff and elected officials, while other large organizations will continue to have a forum. This includes Main Street north of the bridge, South Main Street, Church Street, Parisima Street, Kelly west of Main, and Shoreline Center. With the discontinuation of the monthly downtown merchants meetings, I respectfully ask that the city work to develop a vehicle for all downtown merchants to weigh in during the early planning phase of proposed initiatives that impact downtown before they are brought to City Council nearly finalized. Some options could be a regular email newsletter with project updates, or a quarterly meeting here at Ted Adcock for all businesses, or perhaps an official committee such as those that gave their updates here earlier at this meeting. Perhaps the time has come for a BID or business improvement district for all of downtown, although I have heard that that is potentially an expensive endeavor and most of our merchants do not even have budget to pay dues to belong to the Chamber of Commerce. At the very least, I want City Council members and city staff to know that the Downtown Association serves the heritage core, and I ask you to please find a way to include input from merchants who are not represented by Downtown Association when considering initiatives that impact us. Thank you.
Any speakers online? Okay, that ends public forum. We are now going to be looking at the consent calendar. Does any council member wish to pull any of the consent items? Okay. Is there any public comments on any of the consent agenda items? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve the consent calendar? And please read the list of items on consent. Thank you.
I move that we adopt the consent calendar, including items 8A, waiving reading of ordinances and resolutions. Item 8B, approving minutes of the March 10th, 2026 special meeting. Item 8C, approving minutes of the March 14th, 2026 special meetings. Item 8D, approved minutes of the March 17th, 2026 regular meeting. Item 8E, approving minutes of the March 18th, 2026 special meeting. Item 8F, the award of professional services agreement with Gainey Science for an amount not to exceed $46,014 for preparation of an initial study and mitigated negative declaration for proposed development at 1049 Railroad Avenue. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a roll call, please.
Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Nagengast,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now we move on to ordinances and public hearings. We have none.
And so we move to item 10.
So we're moving on to resolutions and staff reports. We have the Half Moon Bay Hotel Business Improvement District Annual Report.
That's so weird. I can...
Good evening, Vice Mayor, council members, members of the public. So sorry, technical difficulties. This evening, I'll begin by providing a brief overview of the Hotel Business Improvement District, or BID, and then I'll turn it over to Chrislyn, CEO of the Chamber of Commerce, who will walk you through the 2025 annual report in more detail. I'll start by briefly going over the purpose of this item. So tonight's item includes 3 considerations three actions for council's consideration. So first is accepting the 2025 annual report prepared by the Chamber of Commerce, the managing agency for the BID, which outlines how BID funds were used over the past year. Second, adopting a resolution of intention to continue the BID assessment for fiscal year 2026-27. And third, set a public hearing for April 21st, 2026, which provides an opportunity for businesses in the public to provide input before the assessment is formally approved. To help frame the discussion, I want to start with how the city's lodging sector contributes overall. So the transient occupancy tax, or TOT, is one of the city's most important revenue sources and makes up about 40% of our annual operating budget. This tax is collected from stays at lodging establishments, including hotels, bread and breakfasts, campgrounds, RV parks, and short-term vacation rentals. The majority of this tax collected comes from hotels, which contributes around 95% of the total collections. In 2025, TOT generated approximately $8.7 million. And what that really means is that the performance of our hotels has a direct impact on the city's financial health. So when we're talking about attracting visitors and increasing overnight stays, it's not just about tourism, it's also about supporting a key revenue source that helps fund city services. And that's where the BID comes in. It allows us to actively invest in marketing and promotion that helps drive those overnight stays and support the local lodging industry. So with that in mind, I'll walk you through the BID, how that works and how it has evolved over time. The BID was established in 2004 as a way for hotels to collectively fund marketing and tourism promotion through a $1 per room per night assessment. The idea is that by pooling resources, hotels can have a greater impact rather than they would individually, especially when it comes to marketing efforts. In the beginning, the BID applied to hotels within city limits, but in 2017, the BID expanded to include other lodging establishments along the coastside, created a more coordinating and coast-wide approach. And during the same year, the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce was designated as the managing agency that oversees BID operations. More recently, in 2024, there was an increase to the assessment, which is now $2 per room per night. And this increase was about keeping up with the program effectiveness. The rate hadn't been changed since 2004, even though marketing cost and competition from other destinations have continued to grow. It has also allowed for more approach and strategic approach, included expanded outreach, stronger partnerships, and more targeted efforts for overnight visitors. And now I'll turn it over to the annual report itself. So I'll just provide I'll briefly frame what you'll be hearing next. The annual report reflects activities and performance for calendar year 2025, including how the funds were used, what marketing efforts were implemented, and what outcomes were achieved. And I'll hand it over to Kristlyn, who will share more details about that.
Thank you so much, Irma. If the slide's perfect. Awesome. So Kristlyn, CEO of the Chamber, and as mentioned, we help manage the Hotel Business Improvement District. This year, 2025 was an exciting year because it was the beginning of the new chapter of the Visit Half Moon Bay project. With the assessment going up to the $2 in 2024, that started taking an effect in January in 2025. And so we were able to start realizing some of the things that we had been, trying to reach and just didn't quite have the funds to do it. Some notables in 2025 was that we were able to combine what was previously two separate contractor contracts. There was one for a professional PR person and one for a group sales coordinator. Both of them were part-time, but to be honest, one of them got paid darn near full-time. And we were able to bring that in-house and now have a full-time Visit Half Moon Bay coordinator. So not only does Ranger help with the group sales and coordination and concierge services, but he also helps us with Visit California, also helps us with the county's Conventions and Visitors Bureau, the SFP, helps with the visitor operations inside of the office, and also helps with media. So for a $20,000 reduction in cost, we were actually able to get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of more hours of productive Visit Half Moon Bay centered time. Next slide. So some of the exciting stats that you've already got to experience in the city's financial quarterly reports is that the TOT and occupancy are back on the rise, and that showed in 2025. I just keep wanting to say 2026. And so we did start to see a jump to getting closer to those pre-pandemic numbers. The average room rate for the city of Half Moon Bay actually fell a few dollars to $308 per night. That's a fairly decent number. It just shows that we have a good range of the lower end to the super high end. And there has been some room stock removed from the rooms, so we were working with about 716 rooms in the whole of the coast side. The Half Moon Bay typically has around 520-ish of that. So the coast side, full coast side occupancy rose by 4% to 61 over last year. Half Moon Bay rose 6% to 60%, and the unincorporated areas actually had a small dip of 3% and dropped to 64. Next. So as mentioned, we have goals that we set forth at the beginning of each year, and top of that list is the midweek corporate occupancy. We are, as we all know, fine on the weekends for the most part. And so those are not the travelers that we are trying to use these marketing funds to attract. We are trying to attract people who are coming for either corporate group retreats or are going to be here for like a week. So they're filling the rooms in that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday timeframe. Unfortunately, in 2025, meeting planners and corporate groups were still really sluggish on coming back. Every time we would start to see some movement in the corporate groups, all of a sudden a tech company would lay off 4,000 people and it would slash and burn back down. I will say we're again optimistic. The end of last year started to show that peak once more. We have quite a few people who are coming into the visitor center during the weekdays saying that they are at the Ritz for a company convention of some type. So with that sentiment, we have started moving forward on what's called a FAM trip, a familiarization trip, which we will invite meeting planners who have not been to Half Moon Bay before. And we will spend 2 days with them, showing them different hotels, different activities, different things that they could do with their groups to hopefully entice them to book their next corporate conventions, groups, and retreats here. So that will be happening in the beginning of May. And we already have some signups, so we're looking good. And then last year, and thank you so much for honoring our designation earlier tonight. Because of that California Welcome Center designation, we have officially hit the Visit California. We've hit their purview. So even just as we speak, our Visit Half Moon Bay coordinator is out entertaining some travel influencers from Italy. And at the end of last week, he was showing some travel influencers from Korea. And we're working on getting some travel influencers from Australia. And so we hope that they go back and share with their travel companions. They typically work for larger travel companies and include Half Moon Bay in travel packages that will bring people out here for weeks at a time. And we have gotten, with the help of our in-house coordinator, as well as our marketing company, Crucial Creative, we have actually yet again increased the articles written about the Half Moon Bay and Coastside to 85. So that was 14 more than last year. I will note that these are articles of quality. So there's actually about 160 articles where Half Moon Bay was mentioned for any reason, especially towards the beginning of last year when there was the hope that the Maverick wave had been a record breaker. So we do not count those individual articles as a part of this number. This was just individual qualitative articles from a notable writer. We hosted media, 17 people, so that was 10 more than last year. The bulk of those media came from Visit California, but they also had a great group that came from the Conventions and Visitors Bureau, the SFP. And then we also, through our Visit California designation, had the opportunity to be a part of 2 different conventions that were specifically geared towards networking and promoting the coastside to other destinations. And then I did include some of the magazines and articles that we were included in, like Edible, Silicon Valley, Forbes, KQED, and Surfer. So what is a marketing plan without digital and print marketing? You got to have a little bit of everything. And so with the help with city staff, we were able to vet and hire a outside destination marketing firm to analyze our destination, our current audience, but the audience that we wanted to get, and helped create a 5-year strategic plan that we have started to implement. So hopefully we'll see the fruits of that at the end of, or at next year's annual report. And we also finished all of the data collections for the visitor study and are putting all of that together. We got way more statistics than we thought we would have, so it's taken a little bit longer to get it all together and make complete sense of it, but that's coming soon. As you could see, and I won't name them all off, but all of the major digital statistics went up in a positive way, and thanks to Crucial Creative and the wonderful insights from Irma, we were able to add TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads to increase social media awareness, and those channels are growing at a good rate. Next. So again, we're working on the visitor study and making the data palatable to the human eye, and we'll continue to gain insights from that. Some of the software that we have access to. We still have access to it for a couple more months, so we will continue to gather data as long as we can. And for 2026, now that we see that the corporate group sales are hopefully starting to make some kind of a rebound, if all the tech companies could just like take a moment and chill on the letting people go and slashing their budgets, we will host the meeting planner fam trip. We were working with the city to support the FIFA activities that hopefully will happen here. We have been working with the SFP on all kinds of fun things like flavors of the peninsula, to which through our efforts at the coast side has a very big part in that. And we will continue seeking groups of all types. We even had a call today of somebody who wants to host a car club extravaganza here. And then with the help of that 5-year strategic plan that Noble Studios created, we will implement all of their recommendations, which they thoroughly put together in a very palatable and easy way to implement. It was all very good information and useful information. And so Crucial Creative is putting that all into play right now. And I can take any questions.
Are there any clarifying questions from council?
Thank you for the report. And are we cautiously optimistic? Is that the term we use these days?
Yes, that is a good descriptor. I will say with the corporate groups, we've kind of been clobbered over the head about 3 times in the last year and a half, thinking like, now's the time. But the feedback that we've been getting from the Ritz and from some of the other properties, and just again, being in our location, and we've gotten better about our data collection at the visitor center, we're really hearing a lot more about people coming for corporate events.
So that you suspect that may pick up again? Is that?
Yes. Just to be totally honest, the whole Oracle layoff is a little bit of a, hanger out there. But we're hopeful that because we are going to be seeking meeting planners of all different sizes of companies, not just the Googles and the Facebooks, and really trying to entice meeting planners that have not been here before, that'll help open up an array.
So then this whole travel influencer, what are they and how did you find them? I'm just curious on that. That to me is a new term.
Yes. So we get approached by Visit California, and they basically set up trips from influencers, predominantly from other countries who want to learn about different areas, to create packages. If you've ever gone on like group travel and they like, you're going to stay at this hotel and then you're going to go, choose one of these 2 tours. Many of the influencers are that type. And so Visit California creates a package for them that takes them all up and down the coast. So we're typically receiving them from either them coming up the coast from the south or coming down from the north to the south. A lot are coming from Napa, or they've been in San Francisco, they've been in San Luis Obispo. And so they have them for sometimes up to 2 weeks, and they just bop them up and down and around California based on what travel sector they're in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is this annual report on your website, or if not, the one you just showed us, can you send that to all of us?
We typically give it to the city. I'm not sure if the city puts it on their website, but we can definitely do that.
I don't think we share on our website, but I can make sure that you all get a copy of it. Yeah.
And also, I'd be interested in So that Nobel Studios strategic plan is all completed and now in implementation phase, right?
Yes.
Can we also see a copy of that strategic
Yes.
plan?
A copy of that has been given to staff.
Because that would give us a lot more, thoughts about where we can help or what that plan looks like and where,
Yes.
that
I
would
will
help.
say the crux of that plan was digital advertising and how to go about it and how to do it better, including some changes of taglines and leaning into different parts of the coast side instead of just always showing the beach all the time. So it's a lot of that type of 120 pages of that.
Well, it helps us understand the impact of what are, different efforts that are underway, because we can always come up with numbers. We had 8,000 people do this or blah, blah, blah. But, whatever actions are taken, how does that impact, hotel occupancy rates, et cetera? Because I do think there's a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of, a lot of folks aren't necessarily thinking of traveling to Europe for a while. And the, cost of the euro, but there's just a lot going on, and people think more, wow, maybe we should just stay
I will
in
say
the U.S., and
exactly to your point, in the documentation, it shows how strong our biggest travel segment is the other Bay Area cities and how many people are just driving here from Sacramento, from Fresno, escaping the heat, or so many from San Mateo County, and this is just their weekend getaway. So we do have a ton of that, and we try to lean into it the best that we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks for the good report. Appreciate it.
Okay, Patrick.
Kristen, I got to say something. I hung out with you over the weekend, checked out because I couldn't see the remodel Thursday. My wife went, and she said it was excellent. And you did a great job. It looks really good. I'm so proud of you and how it looks and being close to City Hall. And just watching you, and because Ranger wasn't there, and I've seen him in action too, because I just kind of sit around and there is so many people coming in. It was crazy. We could have this discussion and we're talking about the banners, and then all of a sudden she's got to go to the front, and then we sit down, and then she goes to the front again, and the phone's ringing. 50 people, right? That day, and then she's logging in everything, what they're talking about, what they're asking for. It's not just where's the beach, where can I get restaurant, where's the best place for lunch. It was amazing to watch you do that. It was great, and I see the importance of the chamber after that. I've seen this before, but last weekend was just because everything was new and fresh, and you did a great job.
Thank you.
I saw a group that was over by Nanos that was unloading. I thought it was interesting, and it was called City Whisperers. It was an Asian group that bought in a big busload, and they literally just unload and they tour our town to see all the historical buildings. I thought it was cool. If we could tap more into that, that would be great. The other thing I noticed that, and you already hit on this, was when I went horseback riding and I paid for my trip to go riding and then coming back for the photos, the whole gig. I'm asking people where they come from, and that was like 6 months ago. It's all from the Central Valley. Everybody was from the hot area coming here to cool down and chill. And then as you sit in Nanos, and you've done this because we've been there before, you ask people where they're coming from because they stumble into Nanos. And they're all from the hot areas, the Bay Area. When it's too hot over there, they come over here. So if we can focus on that group, and then the other thing would be do you remember the Elf on the Shelf for the Christmas? I think Mark was doing that. Mm-hmm. I talked to him the other day, and I thought it'd be great if we can incorporate that, like to Mr. Cool, hanging out in Half Moon Bay, kind of incorporating, cool down and show all the cool things in Half Moon Bay. And he doesn't know about Mr. Cool, but we were thinking about a mascot, right? Which was showcasing all the things you can do in Half Moon Bay, places you can eat, places you can have a beer, places to hike and all that. So everything that you're doing, he's doing online. Mm-hmm. The other question I have is Cameron's, I saw his numbers are really low, but they have been consistently low. And then I was wondering, San Benito, but I think because San Benito's low on that, is that because they converted or they were remodeling? Is that what it was?
That was the remodel. So
okay.
For the majority of the year, they were still closed. They reopened, I think, in August-ish. But also in their remodel, they went down because I think a couple rooms got turned into double wide suites. So they went from, I believe, 12 rooms to 7.
And then Zabella House, that it got converted. It's no longer.
Well, Zabala House now has a new name, By the Sea. It is run by, I believe, the same company, a group of individuals that run the Mill House and Nantucket. Although they didn't purchase the Zabala House, they run it as a management company. But prior to that, Zabala did take all of the upstairs rooms and converted them into apartments. So that was 11 rooms that were taken out of inventory. The numbers that you will see for Zabala / By the Sea Inn have seemed to so far be improving since the change in name and management. And I believe they did a small cleanup and renovation.
And then the other thing was, I think in 22, we were a little bit higher in February, March, and April. Can we kind of, because you see the dip down in your graph here, and I think that's during COVID.
That was pandemic freedom, sir.
Right, exactly.
People were.
Is there any way we can kind of focus on February, March, and April and try to do a little upshifting and trying to get people to come here, or is that it's just always going to be kind of a low?
We try to find enticing reasons for people to come during those times. However, because it is directly after the holidays, a lot of people have spent their budgets on their Christmases and their Thanksgivings and all of that travel. So January and February in particular just tends to be really, really slow. But that's another reason to go after the corporates, because that's when corporates are having their, beginning of the year retreats, their planning, their priority sessions. Wouldn't you love to have a priority session somewhere fancy and cool?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I appreciate everything you're doing, and it's working. It is. Thank you.
Yes.
Oh, no, we have public comment. Okay, any public comment? Any public comment online? Okay, seeing no public comment, I will entertain a motion.
I move that we approve the Half Moon Bay Hotel Business Improvement District 2025 Annual Report from the Half Moon Bay Coastside Chamber of Commerce, the designated managing agency for the district, and adopt a resolution declaring the City Council's intention to levy an assessment for the Half Moon Bay Hotel Business Improvement District for fiscal year 2026 through 2027, and directing the city clerk to schedule a public hearing on April 21st.
Can I have a second?
A second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Nagengast,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we now move on to item 10B, National Night Out Update. Thank you, Irma.
Good evening, Council.
Eddie, there it is, because Irma already opened it up. Awesome. All right. Thanks, Council. This is an informational item mostly, but we are seeking some feedback and direction from you. We'll provide a little bit of context and presentation, and then kind of talk about what we're seeking from you. So National Night Out, most people here should know what it is. It's a very popular event in Half Moon Bay, but this is it's an annual event that takes place across the country the first Tuesday of each August. And the whole purpose of National Night Out is to bring together the community to build better relationships with public safety, first responders, law enforcement, and just build community through neighborhood gatherings. And it's something we participated in for a long time. And right now we are averaging about 500 members of our community participating each year. So very, very popular. I'm going to turn the time over to Eddie to talk about our role that we've played over the years and how we've done it. Take it away, Eddie.
Thanks, Matthew. So background and current approach. National Night Out are several individual community-led neighborhood events where to participate in the program, we just ask that our residents open up their driveway or their yard or garage, or in some cases even collaborate with multiple residents to form a block party. The city provides here administrative coordination and some limited financial support meant to offset some of the costs that go into hosting one of these parties. It has been 10 years since we've had official direction from the council regarding National Night Out, so it's nice to be here tonight to talk about it. Historically, the program was managed by the city manager's office emergency preparedness staff, who left the city a few years ago, and with that vacancy, Recreation stepped in and offered to carry the load and keep the event moving forward. And I won't take all the credit for Recreation. We actually had a couple other folks in the city manager's office that were very helpful in this. The current city support from the administrative side, there are quite a few things we do. We create and manage the event website and also the registration process that goes into that. Staff also creates the event map for National Night Out, and we coordinate with all of the participants of that program, both to answer questions, to help provide information, guidelines, and parameters for the event. We also coordinate heavily with our partners, which are the public safety agencies, so the San Mateo County Sheriff, the Fire District, and the Half Moon Bay Library. Part of that coordination is we ideally like to have each one of these individual events be visited by at least one representative from those agencies, if not multiple. So that's part of the coordination that goes into working with our partners for the event. We also work heavily with the Public Works Department. Part of the registration process offers the applicant the opportunity to close a street if it's necessary, or Public Works just deems it necessary for safety reasons. So we're very closely with Public Works there. And then also internally in the city manager's office, everyone always tries their hardest to go and visit as many of these residents as possible. From the financial angle, everyone that applies for this program is allowed one $150 gift card, again, to help offset the cost for the supplies, materials, decorations for the event. The fiscal impact, obviously the costs vary by participation. In the last few years, we've seen the gift card amounts from $3,000 to $6,000. We do say staff time here is represented in that amount, but we haven't exactly tracked the administrative time that goes in behind the scenes to this. So best just to stick to that's the amount that we expect each year just for gift card allotment. And any future costs obviously depend on any direction from council this evening.
So what we're really looking for tonight is some feedback from you all. As Eddie said, it's been 10 years since the council really talked about this, and it's kind of been on autopilot for the last 10 years. Obviously very popular. The council has supported it by participating and visiting these events each year. But there is an opportunity here before we really kick off this year's planning to engage the council and get some feedback on how you want us to proceed going further. So some of the questions we have is, should we be limiting the number of events, right? As Eddie showed, the cost to the city varies depending on how many of these events sign up. You know, I think we've had as few as 20 block parties and as many as 30 plus block parties. And so is there kind of a cap we want to put on the number of parties? it's a gift card that we're giving to these folks, and it's kind of the honor system that they're going to use it for these events. We've never had any reason to believe that that money wasn't spent to put on these events, but there isn't really, we don't collect receipts or any of that kind of stuff that would add to the administrative costs of it. We have had events that didn't go forward, and we've had to go back and say, hey, you need to give back the gift card. You didn't have an event, and we haven't had any issues with that. One of the areas that has happened is sometimes you'll have residents of one neighborhood, maybe 2 streets apart, say, let's just combine our parties. And so they'll get their 2 gift cards, and now they have $300 to spend towards the party. We've kind of chalked that up to, hey, if you combine your parties and more people participate, that's fine. But looking for some direction on that. Historically, we have only given gift cards to parties that are within the city limits, with the exception of Moonridge. And I don't know where this started. It was already the first thing I went to when I came to work for the city was I went to Moonridge for their block party that was sponsored by the city. Historically, I know that the thinking was that, residents in Moonridge, their kids go to school in Half Moon Bay. A lot of them work in Half Moon Bay. And so informally, they've been, included in this. But there are generally several parties there. And so there is a cost to the city. And we don't offer that to other neighborhoods. If someone from Moss Beach or Montero reaches out, we tell them, contact your supervisor and see if the county wants to support, and I don't think the county ever has. So that's something we're looking for some clearer direction on. And then anything else that, as you all have participated over the years, that you've observed, any feedback on the program if we want to make changes to it, if we choose to move forward with it. So again, first question is, what is our role? Do we want to continue to sponsor these events or just let the community kind of do it on its own? How much, or if any, financial assistance we want to provide? Do we want it to just be open to as many events as possible, or do we want to limit it? Do we need to refine the selection process, and do we need to be stronger on accountability for the use of these funds?
What's the date this year again?
The date of National Night Out this year would be
August 4th.
We should always start with that.
August 4th.
August 4th.
It's the first Tuesday of August. That's
okay.
We always cancel the council meeting that night so that we can all be very active participants. And again, the support's been there. But yeah, August 4th, 2026 would be the next event.
Yeah, what I've noticed is that I visited a lot of the neighborhoods and checked it out. First of all, I think it's a great event. I like the fact that it's not, overly scrutinized, that people can kind of do what they like in their neighborhoods. Usually people in the neighborhoods are contributing a lot. I mean, a $150 gift card doesn't go that far anyway. But people will set out some grills, barbecues, provide drinks. It's really considered kind of like a group community party that everybody contributes, but it's a centering device that gets people to come together, which I really love. I could see maybe, sometimes people might be starting out. We could maybe publish some of the things that people do in other neighborhoods that are fun. I've been shocked at some of the wild things that some people do and have on their parts, just like really neat things or good music and all kinds of cool stuff. Then the fire trucks come around, police cars, the kids love it. But yeah, maybe just a general, small marketing thing. Yeah, here's some of the things neighborhoods do, how they would spend the $150 wisely or whatever. And here's what neighbors come together and organize, things like that would give people some motivation and ideas. But yeah, I'm glad we're having it again. And we just always hope it's not a crazy foggy night where it's raining. But even that doesn't deter the enthusiasm usually.
It's happening. People just, they do their thing.
Yeah, they move into someone's houses later. I mean, it's cool. A lot of after parties, so it's great.
Block party contest is what I'm hearing. Block party contest.
It's like a block party, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Moonridge, I'd like to continue on with. I definitely want to see that. And I definitely want to continue on seeing police and fire and Matthew in the truck and the lightning showing up. That was cool. I liked it. It was good. And then people are doing their own thing. They are bringing more stuff in. I mean, our neighborhood, it was obvious. The $150 was just No, a block party contest. I like it.
I think Mr. Cool should show up to judge that, right?
Couple of things. First, if you're going to extend the Moon Ridge, then why not El Granada, Montera? I mean, that's where I start. You know, these are city funds, and if the county's not participating, why isn't the county participating? But again, I think it should stay in the city of Half Moon Bay. Second, are you seeing increase the staff time on this? Or is this impacting us? I mean, it's a great thing to have, and I think it's wonderful. You get to shut a street down. Oh my God, that's a cool thing to do. If you're in the hood somewhere, you'd love to be able to close the street. And the only thing I will throw out there, it's $150. Or is it liquor? Is it you using them at dispensaries? I mean, I throw that out there if it's a problem or not, that we're supporting and that money could be spent on that. Does that come back to haunt us? Just ask the question.
Yeah,
So
I think it's a question our city attorney can consider, but I will say we've never seen any issues with any of those things. These are very family friendly, and the money is probably spent on paper plates and paper cloths.
I know, but nobody accounts for everywhere.
Right.
So
and we haven't in the
we're
past.
supporting parties, giving the money. Does that ever come back? Could it come back to us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it would be something easily addressed if the council wanted or gave direction to us to prepare some sort of agreement or, simple document saying we're providing you a $150 gift card. The assumption is you're going to spend it towards paper plates, sodas, whatever napkins you need for the event, but not these things, alcohol, illicit drugs, things like that.
Yeah, I might feel more comfortable, with that, not knowing, similar, you can't use some cards in a grocery store for alcohol purchases. I don't know how you lock that up. But again, too, is how much staff time is this? Is this starting to impact us, or is this something we need to?
I wouldn't say it's a huge amount of staff time. Obviously, the last couple of years with the shrinking staff numbers, it's been a little bit more of a burden. But and Eddie can speak to this because he's really been running it the last couple of years. But I don't think we've seen an increase of staff time over time. It's a pretty well-oiled machine, and there's some work that happens up front. But Eddie, you want to speak to that over the last couple, because you've made some improvements to the program, I think, over the last couple of years.
I don't feel like there's been a huge impact. We're built and geared for special events, so we like it, and it's what we do. And it's fun for us to add to it and improve it. I would say from Public Works, from Todd's standpoint, we have it down with the street closures. I'm speaking on behalf of the Public Works staff. We understand that for this event, our staff are usually off by 4 or 5 o'clock. Folks get home about that time and set up for the event. So Public Works has been really great about leaving these barricades out and allowing the residents themselves, when they're ready to start the event, to do that on their own time. I think from recreation, it's standard.
My feeling is that it's okay for the city to give away something every now and then, and that what we get back from it is all of the public goodwill and the public being proud to be part of a city that does something like this for them. It's a chance for the public to have fun, and they do it with city staff being part of the fun, and with our police department, our sheriff's department, and our fire department being part of the fun. And the CERT volunteers are out there doing their thing. In terms of restricting it to non-alcoholic use and non-drugs, I mean, I don't care if somebody has beer at their block party. To me, that's not an issue, and that's not something I really want to be policing.
I don't think we said policing, just sign something saying, yeah, I'm not.
I don't want to have them signing anything. I don't want, that's my opinion, which is different from yours, obviously. But my feeling is that if people want to have a beer on a Tuesday night in August, in their neighborhood where all their neighbors are watching and the sheriff's there and the fire department's there, by God, have a beer, have two. That's my sense.
Can I clarify something there?
Sure.
Maybe I'm hearing two different things, but I think what Councilmember Nagengast was saying is people agree not to use the gift card to buy those things. Not that the events won't include, well, they shouldn't be, we have a smoking ordinance, so they shouldn't be out there smoking stuff in the street. But I don't know if that was the same nuance you caught, but that's the way I heard it.
Well, yeah, there's that. There's also the idea that we're giving them a gift card. It's a gift card. I don't want to restrict the use of their gift card. I don't want to tell them how to use it. That's my feeling. It's about having a party and having fun. And I think if we get to the point where we start to have problems with somebody who's, taking the gift card and going out and buying themselves a pair of new shoes or something, then the neighbors are going to tell us about that, and they're going to report it to the city, and then we could do something about it if we have to. But to presume that something like that is going to happen puts a damper on it, in my opinion. Anyone else?
Having these things going on for quite a few years, and I haven't heard a lot of police reports or negative actions. So sometimes we just kind of trust people until proven otherwise. So that's where I'm coming from. I don't want to start looking at receipts and this and that. Now you're adding bureaucracy, you know what I mean?
I'm just asking, if you're going to get a gift card, just agree you're not going to spend it on alcohol or drugs. That's all. That's my feeling. And however it's spent, nobody's going to verify receipts or anything. It's just I don't think we should use city funds for people to buy alcohol with, and just asking them not to do that. That's, again, my feeling. But,
if I may, Madam Vice Mayor, it could also be something less than an agreement, like an acknowledgement, hey, acknowledge that we are providing this gift card. It's supposed to be used for the event, and we would request that you do, use it for these items rather than these items, something like that. Or just an acknowledgement that the city is saying that you shouldn't use it for alcohol and drugs.
I wouldn't mind something that said, we are giving you this to buy paper plates or supplies, but I don't want anything said about alcohol or drugs. I don't want that to be part of the party. It's a party pooper.
Do we have any other council members that would agree to that type of direction, an acknowledgement where it says the gift card is to be used for these items, but not identify the things that it can't be used for? And the items could be a fairly comprehensive list, or it could just be for party decorations, event supplies, something like that. Such as supplies such as paper plates, napkins.
I don't know isn't it a shorter list? Just say no drugs and alcohol? Just
stating the affirmative rather than the negative. So I think that's the intent is to just keep affirmative.
I get that. I'm not trying if you're going to drink and, whatever you're going to do, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just trying to me, city funds, trying to say whatever's easiest. I'm just somehow making this more difficult.
I like the idea of saying what we would like the money spent for: food, beverages, and cooking supplies, whatever. I just rather would keep it positive until, again, proven otherwise. And you're never going to be able to track where people had their alcohol in the first place when it's out there. So, people are going to bring it out of their home. It is more like a block party, like you said. So, anyway.
So that's 2. Do we have a third?
Patrick, do you have any thoughts on this?
I just want to party. I don't really care. But if you want to be, and I get what Paul's saying, but we haven't had a problem in 10 years. Have we had a problem in 10 years? Until we have a problem, we just put a rule down, but right now we don't have a problem. And I could barely get a beer out of my neighbor when I went over there, so I'm not really worried about it. And you were there. Matthew was there. I was sitting there. Does anybody have a beer? And they were like, no, we don't have any. I'm like, okay, I'm not having a beer. So I didn't have that.
I can actually confirm that was exactly what he said.
Yeah. So I didn't see it as being an issue. Everyone was gathering. It was a great event. My neighbors, some of them haven't seen me in a while. They knew that I was on council, and I met them back in the planning commission days and so it was fun, and we had a great catching up. Matthew, you saw it. All these people were talking. It wasn't about drinking and smoking pot. It was about having fun.
I'm hearing an affirmative approach, so we'll take that. And the question of including Moonridge or not.
I want to keep it in the city. To me, if you're going to include Moonridge, why wouldn't you include El Granada, Montero, anything outside the city, even down the 92 corridor?
Right.
That's where I'm coming on this.
I have no problem including Moonridge without worrying about all the other cities.
The reason why I'm including Moonridge is, number one, is the kids that are out there. Number two, we're going to have police out there and firefighters. You want communities to engage with firefighters, police officers, city managers. I think this is the right approach, and it's close to our city. That's the reason why I want to do that. I think it's the right thing to do. It's a right message. It's equality, and that's what I'm looking at.
I agree.
I just want to say it's city funds being spent outside the city. Thank you.
And then any sort of constraints on the number of parties each year? Do you want us to cap that?
No, let's wait until we see what happens this year. I mean, I don't see it getting much bigger than 20 to 40 at the most. But, if it starts to get unreasonable, we can always clamp down on the number. That's my sense.
Right. We don't get any complaints, right?
Oh, we haven't. I mean, how do you have complaints when you have fire and sheriff showing up and city folks? And
party on, right?
Yeah.
And actually, the trend I've seen is what you said earlier. More blocks are consolidating. So, in fact, it doesn't create, a million more independent parties. They realize the value because you get more volunteers helping out and people bringing stuff. So that's what I've noticed in my neighborhood. And by the time I get to the parties, there's usually no beer, anything left fun.
I like the contest idea, though. I really do.
Sorry?
I like the contest. Like if combining, I've got this Burning Man feeling right now. Like you combine something, creativity. No, I'm serious. It was cool. Our block did it. They combined it. They had a jumpy. They had the certification people where you saw it. It was kind of cool. It was a combined one. They just turned it into a really cool vibe. The kids were all playing. I thought it was awesome.
So maybe what we can do is have the agencies that are participating just have like a little, their favorite part each, like top 3, and then we can compile it and we can, as part of we always do a report out at council after these events and we can report on who won and there could be some kind of a, pat on the back.
Gift card for alcohol.
The thing I'm thinking too is for our social media, the gal that's doing it, she's doing a great job, by the way. I see everything on Facebook. I see her on Instagram. If we can get her out there taking photos, because she's doing a hell of a good job, I got to say, and get that promoted, because that shows community involvement and everybody's having a good time.
Yeah, I think we'll see more media come out of this year than we've seen before. The other thing I'll just share, and the sheriff's office has a huge presence out here every year. And it's not because, oh, we've got to do something special for the coast side. They come out here because we do this better than anyone else. I lived outside of the community for a while, and I even hosted one of these parties when we were living in a different community. It's not the same. We really do it well here, and it draws in other people that are really interested in it. So I'm really proud of it, and I'm glad to hear the support and understand some of the questions and the comments, and I think it's good to reaffirm some of this. But I'm kind of hearing keep going, and let's create a little competition to up the ante, as long as that ante doesn't up with some kind of rager or a burning furnace, artwork in the street. Yeah, no effigies, folks. That's when the rules will start coming in. So,
just to be clear, Burning Man is basically everybody has their camp, and they outdo their camps with decorations and themes, and the food is free, and the drinks are free. Everything's free. You go to each camp. So that's kind of where I got the idea.
Yeah. Everybody comes back with their dirty cars and their dirty bikes and dirty bodies. So I think staff's got pretty clear direction here. We'll continue forward. I think the community will be happy, and we'll report out at the second meeting in August. So thank you for that. Do we need to do public comment?
Yeah.
Yeah, is there any public comment? Any public comment online? Okay, we move on to item 10C, purchase of a new all-electric Hyundai Ioniq Q5. Yeah. No, Tosh wants to talk about it.
Slide up down. Really? All right, technical issues have been resolved. Madam Vice Mayor, Council, it's a pleasure to be here with you this evening. My name is Todd Seeley. I'm the Interim Public Works Director, and I'm here to talk with you this evening about the opportunity to purchase a new 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 5. So let's get started with why we feel a new vehicle is needed. The current pool vehicle is the second oldest piece of equipment in the city's fleet. The only older piece of equipment is a 2005 F-350. We're going to target that for replacement next year, but this is without a doubt the next oldest piece of equipment. As mentioned in the staff report, the vehicle does have unusually low mileage, 33,500 and some change. Some safety and mechanical issues have presented in the last few years because of the age of the vehicle, not necessarily because of the mileage on the vehicle. This replacement was budgeted in FY24. We had to shift our focus midstream and acquire a tractor so we could do the mowing because of some structural changes that happened with a member of the community and was not able to do that mowing for us anymore. But again, it was deferred for operational needs. As mentioned, the vehicle only has 33,000 miles on it, but we have had some recent issues with the current vehicle. There was a rat nesting in the engine bay of the vehicle and chewing on some of the electrical wiring. 2 recalls for airbag safety defects, faulty wiring in the brake lights and turn signals, windshield wipers that work when they decide they're going to. Driver's side window only rolls up and down in short bursts, so like 2 inches at a time, and then you have to keep going over and over again. Again, not a deal breaker, but we're just highlighting kind of where we're going at. And some existing seals, the location's actually unknown. We've looked at it and tried to figure it out. We're just not able to. That may be older, dry rotted, and causes dampness and mildew during the raining season. Some potential benefits of this new vehicle would be able to remove a gasoline vehicle from the city's fleet and replace it with a zero tailpipe emission EV. Gasoline is approaching very rapidly $7 a gallon, and it would be a huge cost savings for the city just on the gas piece alone. Significant greenhouse gas reduction by replacing with an ICE vehicle. The best estimates that we have based on a couple of sources, about 4 metric tons a year would be of greenhouse gas would be reduced by eliminating the current vehicle. And the new, it says van purchase, but the new vehicle purchase would get the city ahead of state mandates, the California Air Resources Board, with regards to electric vehicle purchases. As mentioned in the previous slide, greenhouse gas reductions. Late last year, we were able to acquire an all-electric van for the recreation department. That lowered us down to about 41 metric tons a year that's across our entire fleet. This vehicle would get us down to about 37 metric tons a year if we were going to replace with an electric vehicle. Some pictures of the current vehicle that we have. It does appear to be dirty. It's important to note that those are not, that's not dirt. Those are actually caked on stains. We've tried to wash those out a couple times. We could probably send it to a professional detailer, spend $1,000 and get it back up to snuff. But it's just the coast side won again on this one, and the air out here has kind of just done a little number on the paint. Again, just not a modern look on the inside. It's 2010 safety features, so obviously there's been marked improvements over the last 15 years as far as safety features goes for staff and electeds that would be driving it. These are a couple photos of what we're proposing to purchase. It is a decent sized hatchback. It has a little bit of cargo space in the back for anything, for if someone needed to travel out of town briefly, or if someone in the planning department needed to go out and post some notices for a potential project, something like that. There's enough room in the back to make all that happen. 4-seater, all the bells and whistles on the inside. It is an extended, not all the bells and whistles. We're not going leather or anything like that. It's still cloth seats, but it does have, we are proposing the extended range package. It would get up to 318 miles per charge, which is pretty substantial. It's obviously not as much as you would get out of a low mileage hybrid, but because of the requirements that we're having to deal with, we feel that this is the best option. Just a kind of brief table of the purchase pricing. Hyundai of San Bruno came in with the lowest bid, $41,697 and 4 pennies. And with that is my down and dirty presentation. I'd be more than happy to take any of your guys' questions and answer anything that you guys may have.
Yeah, I have one question. Who uses this vehicle and for what reasons? You mentioned planning goes out and puts up notices. What other uses does it?
Sure. So, I mean, just a base use of the vehicle would be, say that there's a seminar or something or like over the hill in Redwood City, and we needed to take 6 or 7 staff. You could get 4 in this car and 4 in another car and reduce the number of vehicles that you need to take over the hill. So the purpose of a pool vehicle is to be open to anyone in the city, to include elected officials. Like if you guys had an overnight trip that you needed to go on, this would be the vehicle that you guys would use for that.
Oh, we were told we couldn't use it. Yeah, last year I think they said we couldn't use it. Anyway, that's not why I question. My question is, if it's, how often do people use it for extended overnight trips, kinds of things? Well, and I mean, isn't it mostly just used by people who are driving around the city?
The primary use, I would say, is for code enforcement and inspections. So we have staff that are pretty much every day out visiting either project sites or going out and doing code enforcement actions. And we want them to be an official vehicle when they do that, not taking their personal vehicles to do that kind of work. So that's the primary use. But I've taken the pool vehicle to drive elected officials to meetings. We went to the e-bike meeting previously.
Right.
Other staff may need to take it to a conference or to a training or something like that. So it provides a resource to allow people to, not have to use their personal vehicles all the time.
Yeah, I understand that, and I understand the reason for it. My question is based on my thinking. We're going to buy a brand new car, fancy car, cute little Hyundai Ioniq Q or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. just to do code enforcement for the most part. It seems like a big expense right now when we're in a deficit situation. The car's not unable to. The one we have gets you there, right? It just
Absolutely.
It just has a little rat nest in it, which is not nice. But somebody could take the rat's nest.
Oh, it's been taken out. We've taken the rat's nest out of there.
I mean, do you get my point?
No, I understand where you're coming from.
That's all I'm coming back. And I'll shut up and let other people talk now.
Well, I got a family member who just bought a really sweet Kia, similar vehicle. It was only $35,000. It was like faux leather seats that were beautiful, but really felt like leather. Even blows air up through the seat, like to cool you down. It's like all kinds of, all those bells and whistles, only $35,000. I think there's, and again, if it's just code enforcement, hell, a nice hybrid Camry, man, those, nothing, after 5 years, nothing goes wrong with Toyotas. I mean, it's such low upkeep. Not as nice.
I would.
I'm just saying there's other, or RAV4 or something like that. I just think there's brands that have better repair records, and again, the Kia is about the same size and has very high ratings. And it's about $7,000 less. So I'm just wondering if you did any of those comparisons, or what do you think?
Definitely compared to the Camry Hybrid. I have a bunch of real world experience with that thing, and even mashing on the freeway, I'm still getting 50 miles per gallon in hybrid. Unfortunately, with the carb stuff, they're a hard no on hybrids. They want all plug-ins all the time, and that's kind of what we're up against. As far as the specific model that we looked at, we just kind of went out and did me as the fleet manager, I'd want a Tesla. Elon kind of lost that business, about 2 years ago, and Teslas are the most reliable. They're reasonably priced. They're maintenance free for the most part. Yeah, I'd like a Tesla, but it's a little gaudy and it's, a little unrealistic to get a Tesla. We feel that the Hyundai just comes in right at the right price point, and I mean, full disclosure, we didn't compare against the Kia just because of some recommendations that we'd had from other folks about the Ioniq. I've talked to a couple people in town that own them, and they love them. They're actually absolutely thrilled with them, and that was kind of the starting point for where we're at now.
Did you get them to kick in an extended warranty?
The warranty is actually pretty robust. So the warranty that comes from the factory is like 6 years and 80,000. The battery bumps up a little more. I think it's like 8 and 100, something along those lines. So pretty realistic. And you obviously see the mileage that we have on the existing one. We'll never get to the mileage part of it. We will have to worry about replacing all of the electric vehicles in our fleet at some point, based on the fact that just some surveys that I've seen from Consumer Reports, between 13 and 17% of vehicles need total battery replacements after about 10 years. And that's a $15,000 proposition, right? So the state's mandating it without taking this into consideration and offering us any recourse or relief. So it's why we need to stay on top of the replacements once we start getting these electric vehicles.
And the state mandates no hybrid.
No hybrids.
Even though you're driving on the electricity, if it's local driving around. Okay. Good to know. All right.
Yeah. Well, the state, interesting, right? One bad California wildfire, and that blows all these charts you're showing me that we're not doing years. I mean, literally, it's amazing what a wildfire can do.
Absolutely.
And we're all worried about whether I have an EV doing code enforcement. Did you look at used EVs? Because there's so many on the market now.
We didn't look at used EVs because of the thing that I'm kind of referenced earlier with the battery and battery replacement. Because of the unknowns of we don't know what the previous owners, what care they put in that vehicle. I'm guessing it would probably be easier to determine how much care was taken with an internal combustion engine, oil change receipts and stuff like that. But charging receipts would be harder to gather. If vehicles are driven to zero and then recharged all the way back, our research has shown that that's not necessarily the best for the vehicles. You want to recharge electric vehicles between like 80% and 50% to get them back up to full charge. If you let them go all the way down, it just destroys the batteries. And we have no way of knowing what a previous owner would have been doing, what their habits would have been, what their driving habits would have been like. We just don't know those. That's a lot of unknowns and uncertainty.
Mm-hmm. And do we store are these chargers under roof? In the garage? I mean,
the chargers for the electric vehicles?
Yeah, I mean, part of our problems were how these vehicles were stored over the years. So you have rats' nests and everything else in them.
So we currently don't have any covered parking in the city because this vehicle would be assigned to City Hall. Yes, primarily it is a code enforcement vehicle, but other people use it. Like, for example, communications took the electric truck today and was gone for a couple hours doing an event at the high school. So other folks in the city use it. As far as the chargers go, the primary charger that we use downtown is right on the side of City Hall. It's a public-facing charger. We just have cards that we are able to use to charge city vehicles going that route.
So we don't have we don't have garaged or covered. So
we don't have garage for any of our city. We
still have that. Living on the coast and having vehicles exposed to the elements, and then I think how I'm feeling, it's like you have to buy this, right? I mean, to us, the decision is whether we defer it a year, with our budget.
Yeah.
Even though it was budgeted, I know that, but that doesn't necessarily mean you have to spend it. And we're trying to figure out our budget this year. Just wondering, because I know it was included last year, but
a couple FYs ago, FY24.
Yeah, but that's what I'm trying to figure out, if it's prudent to purchase it this time. Yeah.
Well, just so you have the information to make that decision, we will be bringing most likely a vehicle request replacement for next year as well, and that would be to replace the 2005 F-350. Still, same thing as this one, fairly low mileage. I can't even give you an exact number. It's probably in the 40,000 range, but well past its useful life, and it's something that needs to go.
That electric too? You have to.
That one would not be. So again, with CARB and their regulations, they do give us some carve-outs. I think up to 25% of the fleet we can carve out to still have internal combustion engines. So we would replace that with an internal combustion engine, probably a 4x4, because we don't have very much capability to get onto the beach in the event of an emergency or something catastrophic happening down there where we needed to get equipment down there. So we're looking at probably a 4x4, F-250 or F-350, something like that in next FY. That's our primary target right now that we've identified for replacement next year.
Thank you.
I think I looked at the photos, and these are our vehicles. It's sad because they all sit outside, and I've had my share of rat damaged cars, believe me, and they do a number on these cars. And all you got to do is let them sit. Even my truck got eaten up sitting in my driveway in 2018. They do a number, and so. Number one, I just want to throw something at you. There is this little sensor you can buy on Amazon. You can hook it up to your battery. It does this laser. It does this little beep. It keeps the rats out. And I would highly recommend it because every car in our neighborhood has rats. And I'm one of them. I have it. Number two, that car, it looks still good, at 33,000. You're talking about safety and mechanical issues, kind of minor wiring issues. I mean, have we assessed it? The window could be just self-learned. Do we know what it is? I mean, little things that you brought up. Does that really bring the criteria that we really need a new car? Can we defer this for maybe another year or two?
Oh, yes, of course we could defer it for another year or two. Our thought process is, was and is, that we have the funding for it now. And again, I briefly mentioned that we're going to be having to bring more vehicle replacements in the future. When we took the van to you guys for approval the second time and kind of just laying out the plan, the easiest way to keep O&M down for the entire city fleet is to get onto a 10 to 12 year replacement cycle. right? When you're replacing every vehicle every 10 to 12 years, it keeps O&M down. You get a bigger return on your investment when you go to sell to surplus them and get the money back. It's just the cheapest way. It's a pretty standard practice in municipalities, and it's obviously something that we've not done for quite some time. So we'd like to get to that point. And this is kind of where we're at. This is the first step in the process. Let's get rid of the older vehicles, get newer ones in, and start looking at how we can get these vehicles on a 10 to 12 year replacement cycle so that we can keep our vehicles fresh, keep them current, keep them safe, and still have a semi-modern fleet. I'm not proposing that we're going to be replacing vehicles sooner than that, because that's obviously unrealistic. Even in good budget conditions, that's still unrealistic. But I feel that we have a bit of an opportunity here with the current funding that exists to kind of take a stab at getting rid of one of the oldest pieces of equipment in our fleet and just starting fresh with it and moving forward and developing a better program moving forward.
My feeling about that is that I'd really like to see the statistics, the reports that you're talking about municipalities replacing things every 10 to 12 years. That may have been true back when you were talking about internal combustion engines. It may not be true any longer. It may be true. It may be even more important now. I don't know that.
Sure.
But I think when we are still talking about a deficit, that we can't look at things like a $45,000 purchase and just say, well, it's been budgeted in the past, therefore we can spend that money. We could use that money to bring down the deficit and for things that are more important. And I mean, I think going at least one more year, maybe trying to see how that program of replacing municipal vehicles every 10 to 12 years, how that would pan out, how it does save, what it really brings us. That's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
I'm through the vice mayor. Is that how I request?
Yeah, sure.
I would feel more comfortable, I think, waiting till we know there's contract negotiations this year. We know the matrix is also looking at personnel. I'd like to see our impacts to our personnel budget, and if we can get another year out of this, I would like to try and do that if possible. And I also look at and maybe we could, if you're going to get some more information provided to you, is use EVs, their lifespan. Now, maybe it is totally dependent on the battery, if it's already gone. And I don't know, Patrick, if I'm going to rely on your expertise a little bit here, but I don't know how much experience you have with, your shop EV.
What Todd brought up was exactly right.
Yeah.
I was
So
talking
they're
to an
limited.
Uber driver, and he said the same thing. You don't know what you're buying, and if you run them low, it ruins the battery. And then I said, did that happen to yours? And he goes, it did. I was lucky I was under warranty. There was some glitchy. So yeah, you don't know. And there is going to be a market out. There is a market, but you don't know what you're going to get. And also, like, these Teslas are having problems with the control arm. So you might be buying a used one, then you have this big expense with the control arm, and then they're having problems with the rack and pinions. You don't know what you're going to get. You're buying it from a dealer. Do you think he's going to check it? No, he's going to flip it and move it along.
Is there do they have certified programs on, do you know if?
I'm not aware of certified programs for electric vehicles. Obviously, for internal combustion engines, they do, but I'm not aware of ones for electric vehicles.
I mean, what I'm hearing is let's defer this until the next fiscal year. It just may mean that we'll roll this funding over and be bringing multiple vehicle purchases next year. We'll get through negotiations. We'll do some of this additional research. I want you to know that part of the reason Todd is here is he has experience managing a large municipal fleet, and he's trying to bring best practices to us so that we're not, shortcutting something by dragging it out a year and it costs us more down the road. So it is coming from a place of knowledge and understanding. And, we have deferred this already for several years. We're well beyond what we normally would have done, but we also understand the situation we're in, and we can certainly make that car work for another year. And, hopefully we won't have anything catastrophic come before then. If we do, we'll be back looking for a new car anyways. So I think we're comfortable deferring this to the next fiscal year, not deferring it for a full year, but let's get into the next fiscal year and see how some of this other stuff plays out.
Yeah, and we really could use some education. If you can educate us on that would be great.
Absolutely. And I think what I'll also bring back when I come back next time is, unfortunately, I have the CARB requirements locked up in here. 2035 is the rolling target where they want 75% of our fleet to be electrified. There's obviously a carve out that I mentioned about emergency response vehicles. And if I were to venture a guess right now, I don't think that there's any way the state's going to enforce 2035 just because there's not enough electric options available for certain pieces of equipment. Like we have a small F-550 dump truck. There's the current equivalent that exists for that is the size of a Freightliner, right? So there's just not, the technology hasn't caught up yet, and the state's going to have to adjust those goalposts as we move along. But we'll deal with that, and we'll sharpen our approach as we get to there. But for right now, we still need to get a couple of electric vehicles in the fleet by 2030, which is realistic and doable. It still gives us a couple years. So, well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll be back next year.
Madam Vice Mayor, we need to take public comment before we move on.
Is there any public comment on this issue? Is there anybody online? I don't see anybody, so thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful evening.
Okay. We now will move on to item 10D, which is an award of professional service agreement with Miller Planning Associates to update the implementation plan and associated sections of our municipal code.
Good evening, Vice Mayor and council members. So we're here for this item to look at the contract for the implementation plan update. So this is a comprehensive planning code update. The project involves not just a comprehensive update, but really a complete overhaul of the implementation plan and several additional sections of code that relate to planning permits. It involves public outreach, mapping, agency consultation. A little history. In June of 2025, Council approved $200,000, really with the intention of matching a grant that we were going to apply for with the Coastal Commission. In July, then, of the same year, Council authorized us to apply for the $500,000 grant application with a $361,000 match. That would be the $200,000 set aside and the $161,000 for staff's labor. The start date for that was January 1st, 2026. The first thing that we did was send out an RFP to hire a consultant for this, which was the intention. The RFP was sent out on January 20th. We followed the steps that are outlined on the slide here. The deadline was February 23rd, deadline for submittals. We went through the process of ranking proposals. We only received 2 proposals. And we conducted interviews with both of the consultant groups. And then we selected Miller Planning Associates. Miller Planning Associates really demonstrated a clear understanding of the project. They have extensive experience updating zoning code and working in the coastal zone. They also partnered with M Group and with staff members from M Group that we already work with and who are already familiar with our plans, which was a big bonus for them. The project budget, the RFP noted the $500,000 grant from the Coastal Commission, but left the upper end of that, the remaining contribution open. And Miller Planning Associates budget in their proposal was $699,946. After we selected Miller Planning Associates, we agreed on a 10% contingency, which brings the total to $769,586. I'm sorry, it's getting late for me. So that's where we are now, and that's what's before you this evening. I'm happy to take questions, and we also have Martha Miller from Miller Planning Associates online.
Just one quick question. Out of the $769,000, $500,000 is covered by a grant?
That's correct.
So coming out of our general funds is about $170,000, right?
269,000.
Did I do that math wrong? 5, 6, 7. Yeah, right. 269. Yeah, right.
That one of the slides that made it look like it was 699 or something.
Right. Got it. Okay. So 269 out of our budget, 500 is covered. The other 500 covered by a grant.
That's correct.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So is this the update that's going to be done by October?
This update is scheduled to be completed December 31, 2027.
So 2027. So that's another date. Is this part of the date that HCD was talking about that I saw? I was trying to understand.
I'm sorry. So you're talking about
rezonings.
Yeah. So we are currently in the process of doing some very minor amendments to rezone as required by HCD. Those rezonings relate to Program 1-1 in the housing element, and they are very surgical and very specific.
So this is different than that.
This is different. Those rezonings were initially part of this, but we pulled them out.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, because HCD wanted them done immediately.
Right. And then the other thing I have to ask, because it's come up, at Sandboard actually came up, we were talking about AI and how much is included or not included as part of something. I know there was, there was a comment from a community member about AI, and I don't know, and maybe the representative from Miller can explain, but is AI a part of this process, or is this something that, now we're starting to even talk about, it's old school if you have to write a report yourself as opposed to ask a question online and AI will answer. I don't know if there's a relationship that AI can be a part of this, or is it something that comes later, but I didn't know if there's something you or somebody from the firm could talk a little bit about how AI is or isn't a part of, to do our implementation plan.
Yeah, well, I will ask Martha to speak to this, but before she does, I will just say that AI is a tool that we all use pretty frequently now. It will likely be used as part of this project at some point. However, planning code is very nuanced, and that is part of what we're getting at here. And you want to create it so that it's as objective as possible, but you don't want to box yourself in to the point where you can't be flexible when you have to be. So in that way, it's very nuanced. But it also part of this package is a community outreach and a lot of bringing agencies along and planning commissioners and coastal commission staff throughout the process. So we don't end up in the end with an implementation plan that isn't approvable. So anyways, Martha, do you want to speak at all to some of the AI questions?
Sure. Thank you. Martha Miller with Miller Planning Associates, and I appreciate the opportunity to kind of talk about this and answer any other questions that you have. But what Leslie said is kind of exactly right. AI is a tool that we use where we can. I would say probably the most common use of it that we have in our work would be summarizing maybe community input, results of a survey, open-ended questions. We may use it for meeting notes, things like that. But it really isn't something that can be used to write the code for you or do the analysis for us. It's a pretty complex project. So it's really something that takes working with the community, customizing it towards Half Moon Bay. So I guess the short answer to your question is we use it where we can, where it's helpful, but it isn't kind of an overall large effect on really kind of the work that goes into updating this code for you.
Thank you. It helps because I think there's some, in my head, trying to understand, it's not like something, ChatGPT, can you see what type of zoning can do, some blah, 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 and boom, it answers your question. Our implementation plan would be different than another agency's, right? Based on how we're different than everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So, and we're learning more about what AI is, just a tool. It's not the solution to everything.
Correct.
So, and that helps. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, and I appreciate what Paul's saying, and I also read the comment from the constituent and stuff and understood what they're driving at, but I just can't imagine a more customized kind of document than a local coastal plan, and the Coastal Commission goes over with a fine-tooth comb. And when we produced that plan a couple of years ago, the accolades we got from the Coastal Commission were unheard of. I mean, it was just like a very customized work of art, and one of the few cities that are totally in the coastal zone. So it is very nuanced. I mean, you can go into AI, but they can only use all the existing research. There's not that many cities to compare it to even that are like that, on the California coast. So I think it's good to be, rely on expertise of people who work directly with the Coastal Commission, anticipate their things that they want to see, and most of it's covered by a grant. So I feel just it'll be money well spent either way to have that customized expertise using AI where necessary to, cut the time on analyzing surveys, et cetera, and input, which is, sounds about right. So Thank you.
So the same constituent called me today. So, but he brought up forward, and I tried to text him now because he called me when I was like knee deep in my stuff. He wanted to know if our legal team would have experts that would oversee this documentation to make sure that it's on track. So that's kind of what he was asking. Was this something?
The documentation or the final product?
Well, during the process, I think is what he was trying to say.
I think I'll let the director also chime in, but I think our team would be involved certainly in the process. As the update is developed and reviewed, we would be involved in that process as well. Director Lako, please correct me if that's not the plan.
I wouldn't undertake a project like this without a city attorney involved. They'll always be involved in reviewing new policy or code.
The AI thing, I think what he was trying to get at, and I appreciate you guys bringing it up, is just he's trying to look at cost effectiveness is what he's trying to do, and also to protect ourselves based on what happened recently. So that's why. That's it.
Okay.
Make a motion.
Can we entertain a motion? Oh, wait a minute. Is there any public comment? Any public comment online? Thank you, Martha, for your input. There is someone who wants to speak, Evelyn D'Souza.
Hi, I just happened to be listening and actually using AI while you were talking. And I just was curious why AI wouldn't be used here to potentially do things like model future coastal conditions, run what-if scenarios, identify high-risk zones, etc. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Evelyn. Any other public comment? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a professional service agreement with Miller Planning Associates for an amount not to exceed $769,946 to update the local coastal program implementation plan and associated sections of the city municipal code.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Brownstone,
Yes.
Councilmember Nagengast,
Yes.
Councilmember Johnson,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Penrose.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Next, we have commissions and committee updates. Anything?
Took care of at the beginning of the meeting, so
We
we're
did
good.
that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, future discussion, possible agenda items. Anyone? Okay, city council reports. Anyone? Councilmember Nagengast.
Thank you. I just wanted to report out on March 26th, as a member of the League of Cities Transportation, Communication, and Public Works Policy Committee, I attended our meeting in Costa Mesa. Our focus was on e-bike safety and legislation being proposed in Sacramento. And apparently, I wanted to learn how the sausage is made, literally, right? And finding out a lot of these laws that are being proposed will never become laws. It's fascinating because it's an election year. A lot of items are going to come up. However, there are some that we will, as League of Cities, which we're a member of, that we either support with amendments or oppose. And what I want to do when the e-bike it's going to come to council in the near future. We're going to talk about that. I know the BPAC committee, our local BPAC's been busy. I will assist in that report, and I also want to include updates, what I've been seeing on the state level and where we have Moon Bay.
Great, wonderful. Can you also tell them that the only solution to the e-bike problem is licensing? Thank you.
That did come up several times.
I think that's it. This meeting is adjourned. And you win the prize. He said 9.